Okay, let's look at our workbook on page 68. Workbook page 68. Okay, so lesson B, clauses of concession. We're continuing with that. Let's look at exercise 1. Match the sentence parts, then write the sentences. So let's take a look at number 1. Although sending email is fast, I think sending a letter is friendlier. So letter D is the answer. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to complete the rest of the exercise and then we will look at it together. Okay, number 2. Even though I have a cell phone, I don't make many calls with it. Letter C. Number 3. Although I sometimes use a microwave, I think the food doesn't taste good. You can also say, I don't think the food tastes good. Okay? Number 4. Even though I have a driver's license, I don't own a car. Number 5. Although digital cameras are innovative, I prefer old cameras. And old cameras are actually making a comeback. People like the look of pictures taken with old cameras. And because the settings are manual, you can change each setting to achieve the look that you want. Okay, number 6. Even though I don't have air conditioning, the temperature in my house is comfortable. Okay, so exercise 2. Read the survey. Write sentences about what David prefers with although or even though. Okay, so if you look at the chart, you'll see 5 questions and you'll see an X or a check. An X means sometimes and the check means usually. So if you look at number 1, how do you write to friends? So let's look at the answer. It says, although David sometimes writes emails, he prefers to write letters. Okay? So go ahead and complete numbers 2 through 5, but keep in mind the main verbs and infinitives so that you use the correct form of the verbs. Okay, so number 2, we can say, even though David sometimes uses a dishwasher, he prefers to wash the dishes by hand. Okay, number 3, although David sometimes gets the news on TV, he prefers the radio. Or we can say, although David sometimes watches the news on TV, he prefers to get the news on the radio. Number 4, even though David sometimes uses an air conditioner when it's hot, he prefers a fan. And of course, we can put the even though clause at the end. So we can say, David prefers to use a fan when it's hot, even though he sometimes uses an air conditioner. And then number 5, although David sometimes goes to work in a car, he prefers to use his bicycle. Okay, so let's move on to exercise 3. Combine the sentences. Use the words in parentheses. So let's look at number 1. Nora has a new cell phone. She likes her old cell phone better. And we need to use even though. So you can say, even though Nora has a new cell phone, she likes her old cell phone better. So go ahead and complete the rest of the exercise and we will look at the sentences together. Okay, number 2. Although I used my GPS, I still couldn't find the way to your house. Okay, number 3. Although Omar works in an office, he doesn't like to use computers. Number 4. Even though I sent you 3 text messages, you never wrote back. And of course we can say, you never wrote back even though I sent you 3 text messages. Number 5. Although my mother bought a digital camera, she doesn't know how to take pictures with it. Number 6. Even though Mr. Cho gets a lot of spam, he likes using email. Number 7. Although I have a dishwasher, I prefer to wash the dishes by hand. Okay, and then exercise 4. Rewrite the sentences. Put the second part of the sentence first. Number 1. I usually cook on the stove even though I have a microwave. So we can put the second part first and say, even though I have a microwave, I usually cook on the stove. So go ahead and complete the rest of the exercise and we will look at it together. Okay, number 2. My camera doesn't work although I put in new batteries. Number 3. Although his old car often breaks down, he refuses to get a new car. Number 4. The clothes were too expensive even though the store was having a sale. Number 5. Even though a plane is faster, I prefer to travel by train. Number 6. I prefer to use the air conditioner although a fan is cheaper. And number 7. Even though most people now prefer text messages, I still write emails. Okay, so for homework, I want you to go back to your student's book on page 71, and the questions we discussed in exercise 3B, I want you to send me your opinion on number 2. So in general, do you think technology saves time or wastes time? And give examples. Okay, so just like the examples I gave you earlier about social media and Alexa, you can send me a few sentences about your opinion. Okay, so that's the end of our lesson and I will see you next time.